Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Vlog. I am the critic with a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be doing a little bit of a box office preview for the upcoming weekend. Big release, of course, coming from Disney Pixar, which is the new animated feature Onward, which some might argue is the as an original film from Disney, finally, after so many remakes, reboots, etc., retellings of various stories, we have a so-called original film. Now, I have not actually seen the film yet. I have not read into what the full background of the story is, but I imagine, just like with many other Disney films, Disney Pixar films especially, it is based off of some type of previous material. That all being said, does that mean the film's not going to be any good? Honestly, I couldn't say one way or the other. What I can say is that the opening weekend, the domestic opening weekend, is not looking all that great for it. So even though Onward is absolutely going to crush the competition and going to come in at #1 this weekend, when you compare this to other animated films, especially other Disney animated films, this is actually coming in towards the bottom of the pack. And so it makes you kind of wonder, is this film going to be in a very bad situation, and how much does CV come into play? For those who don't know what CV is, it of course is talking about the current global crisis going on in the world, which I'm not really going to say much more about because there have been rumors that some videos and certain channels have been getting videos demonetized because they've been talking about it. I will not, but I will, at least not by its full name, but I will say I think CV is playing a major impact not only here domestically, but will also play a major role in the foreign markets as well. And I actually cannot wait to see, because this is going to be one of the first major releases from a major studio since CV really became as rampant as it is, where we're going to get opening weekend international numbers. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see, because this could be a precursor to what the box office is going to look like for the next several months, especially as CV continues to be a major problem. So anyway, Onward is expected to open at $55 million, which might sound good on paper, but when you compare this to other films that have been released in a very similar category, being that animated feature and especially a Disney Pixar animated feature, it's actually towards the bottom of the barrel, and you're going to see what kind of company this film is in just a second. But Invisible Man is actually set to come in at #2. So Universal's Invisible Man, which was already profitable after its opening weekend, continues to make profit, making another $17.3 million, only having a 39% drop is what the estimates have it at, which would be very impressive for that movie, made for dirt cheap, only for like a $9 million actual budget. As I said, the film's going to make a decent profit just because it cost so little to make, and it's actually doing pretty well overall. The Way Back is the brand new film from Warner Brothers, seems to be indicating the comeback story, the comeback story, as it were, for, what's his name? I even forget his name. Ben Affleck, which again, hey, I'm glad that he seems to have gotten help, and he seems to be giving some credit to certain actors in his life that have been helping him in the process. And again, anyone that's doing better is great. Doesn't mean that he's any less of a crazy person when it comes to his politics. But even with all that, again, if he's healthy, that's the big thing. That film, though, only set to make $8 million in its opening weekend. I imagine The Way Back doesn't have a gigantic budget, but as you can see, definitely not a huge number for Warner Brothers film. Sonic the Hedgehog is set to have a 52% drop, and again, this film has now been out for almost a month now at this point, making another $7.8 million, definitely continuing to do very well at the box office. Call of the Wild, 20th Century Studios, Disney-run production, set to have another 50% drop in the domestic market, $6.8 million. I imagine that the foreign totals for that movie are going to continue to remain exceptionally low, and is going to lead to that film being close to $100 million loss. That's right, $100 million. Some are reporting $50 million, but based on the numbers that we got and based on the numbers that I'm crunching, it's going to be closer to $100 million, especially with its very, very, very poor worldwide, showing so far. Emma is getting a wide release from Focus Features, getting plus 254%. Bad Boys for Life continues to stick around with making another $3.2 million, bringing its total domestic to $202 million. Damn, I don't think I ever would have guessed the film would have been that successful. I thought, hey, yes, this is probably going to make some money. It's going to make some profit. It's definitely going to make its money back at the very least, and probably make some nice little profit on top of that. But hey, Sony, good job. You have you've apparently been hitting the right notes with that film, with the right audiences, and it's been bringing a lot of money. Birds of Prey continues to just not make that much. 34% drop, which is not that much of a drop compared to its previous 40+% drops from week in to week out, but it's still likely going to be a box office bomb. And again, I'll have an updated box office chart by the end of this weekend, especially seeing if CV is going to have any impact on that. 1917 continues to make money as well with another 26% drop, another $2 million there domestically. And then My Hero Academia, which I have no idea what that is, a 65% drop, but that's a Funimation Entertainment, which means it likely is a very limited run. And so seeing that type of discrepancy there just makes a lot more sense to me. But Onward is set to be number one, but where does that fall in comparison to so many other films? Well, these are all in the $1 million range. So big things there for as far as animated features go. Lion King, $191.8 million. It's interesting that they're counting The Lion King as an animated film, even though it was sold to us as a live action film. I just find it hilarious. So the first actual technical animated feature, even though I think Lion King 2019 absolutely is animated film. Incredibles 2, $182.7 million. So again, that's the biggest opening domestic numbers here. Onward's obviously not going to be up there with these people. Finding Dory, Frozen 2, even Shrek the Third, Toy Story 4, Minions, but I don't think anyone really expected it because, that's right, it's an original story. So let's see where it's going to get closer to. Oh, wait a minute. We have to drop down quite a bit. $55 million. That would put it just around SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water, Cars 3, Lego Batman. Some might say, ooh, but you got Coco down there as well. So Coco ended up being a pretty big box office hit. And guess what? You would be right. How to Train Your Dragon, a lot of these films ended up making lots of money. So does opening weekend domestically really result in whether the film's going to be successful in the foreign market or not? Not necessarily. However, seeing that there is at least one active campaign against this film from 1 Million Moms, Jeremy from Casey Gamers talked about that a little bit because they don't like some of the messages that they seem to be putting in this film, and seeing that it is an original story, and seeing that CV is impacting worldwide box office, at least presumably at this point. Again, just seems to be the case with a lot of films, like, for example, Call of the Wild just not performing at all in a lot of foreign markets. I don't think that you're going to see that film Onward make as much money as you had with Coco and other films. And Coco, you could argue, was probably one of the last original films that we can think of that had a huge, box office release and just did so very well in recent memory, at least in the last couple of years. But that film also didn't have everything that's going on right now. Also, this film hit very well with Hispanic communities. And so it makes a lot of sense as to why this film would make as much money as it did, because not only did you have a strong U.S. showing for this film by the end of its run, but then also, of course, you had a strong showing from Mexico. You had a strong showing from other parts of the world as well. So also, it was a really good film. Just going to be honest with it. I personally like Coco. I thought it was a very good film. Haven't seen Onward, so I can't say whether it's good or bad. But based on early reviews, it's getting very mixed. They actually ended up getting some early screenings to that film about a week or two ago. Again, very early on for a lot of releases. And yet, a lot of the instant reactions to it were very, very mixed on it, saying, it's okay. It's not really the best thing they've ever done. It's not the worst thing. Basically, from what I'm hearing, it's not Cars, but it's also not in the Frozen land either, or in the Coco territory either. And I think because you have such a discrepancy, this $55 million could end up noting that Onward might not be that profitable. But again, we have to wait for the actual box office numbers to come in for the weekend, and not just include the domestic numbers, but also the foreign total as well. Because also, guess what? It could overperform. It could make over $55 million. It could also underperform as well. To me, I think this is going to be one of the first real tests to see what kind of effect CV has on the international box office and even the domestic box office, especially as cases become more and more common across the United States. But it's going to be interesting to follow nonetheless. So I'm not calling this film a flop, not calling this film a failure at this point. What I am saying, though, is that this film is opening up in definitely the bottom tier of box office releases. And even though you have a lot of films that made crap tons of money, still a different scenario right now in 2020. But anyway, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that Onward is going to be a box office bomb? Do you think it's going to break even? Do you think it's going to do just fine? And also, do you think CV is going to have any impact on any of these movies? Mostly, I would say, in the international marketplace. I don't think that we've gotten to the point here in the US for it to have a major impact, but I think we're almost getting to that point, especially as people continue to fearmonger about how bad it is, when in reality, it has the same impact and the same death rate, etc., as a lot of other less scary, or at least for us, we don't really even talk about a whole lot. Like the common flu, for example, has a higher kill rate, death rate than what's going on with this. And I think that that's the kind of stuff, and that's the kind of misinformation that's leading a lot of people to stay home for the movie theater. I mean, it's already hard enough to get people to go to the movie theater in general, especially for an original story. But I think that it's going to be interesting to follow these numbers as they come in. But let me know your thoughts about that and all these thoughts about in the comment section below. If you like this video, please smash the like button. It does help me out. And also hit subscribe if you've not done so already. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now to give a special shout out to my March Patreon and Subscribe Star members: animation commentator Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik, Divex, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Honker Chonker Funky Monkey, Inflame Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Camiel, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Riff Racer Request, Rosetta Allen, Sir Lancelato, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B for Patreon, and my Subscribe Star peeps, Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Dark Star 57, Alex McCarthy, US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadan G. Adams, and ZK Man, and Mike Jackson. Thank you all so much for being my Patreon and Subscribe Star members for the month of March. You are all amazing people. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope that you are enjoying your perks. If you do not know the perks that you get, make sure you read again through all the perks that are listed, and also check your messages if you're over on Patreon, because if you are a $5 and up backer on Patreon, you get special access to giveaways over on the Discord. I send out messages with a link to join the Discord server. I will then hook you up over there, and you'll have access to some really cool giveaways. I give away 4Ks, Blu-rays, digital codes, try and give away at least a couple of big movies, 4K Blu-ray titles a month, and try to do at least 2 to 3 giveaways for when it comes to digital download codes. And I might try and do a little bit more this month as well, because I'm always trying to add extra stuff to it. And also, if you are a $10 or up backer, then you have access to a special podcast that I'm starting to do with John the Flick Pick. That's right, John Flickinger of the Flick Pick channel. We're having a lot of fun with the podcast, and so expect that every couple weeks. And of course, also any extra behind the scenes, extra footage, extra interviews, extra solo podcasts as well, you will also have access to. And my special $25 and up backers on Patreon Subscribe Star, you have access to all of those things that I've listed. You also get a t-shirt. That's right, I will send you a t-shirt for your first month. And of course, you can also be featured on the Chosen to Valhalla live stream once a month. You get to be featured on the Odin's movie blog channel. It's always usually on a Sunday around 12 p.m. Eastern time. You get to join some lovely peeps and have some really great discussion with all of the Chosen of Valhalla and me with the live audience. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.